There we go. What's going on, everyone? Sorry about that. The tricky mute button will get you. Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report by Chat Sports. I am your host, Matthew Peterson. A rare, first ever, I think, no, maybe the early days of our live streams, Wednesday show. Because the Browns play on Saturday, everything kind of got moved up a week. So appreciate all of you guys for tuning in 24 hours earlier than normal. We're going to let the audience build up as we always do. And while we do that, I want you all to get in the comment section, get in the live chat, and predict the score for me. Browns, Ravens. Let me know down below. And just like that, we've got our first super chat coming in. But let me know who you got. Browns, Ravens. We'll get the super chat on screen for you guys here. Mike Honcho. And it's also a good time to bring on
Mike.
Trizzy Trace. He is filling in for the irreplaceable Patrick Seatman. But Trizzy Trace, an esteemed producer here at Chat Sports. We are lucky to have his services today. So, Trace, welcome aboard. Welcome to the Dawg Pound.
Glad to be here. I'm glad to get the party started. I heard how Dawg Pound likes to have some fun, and so does your boy.
Yeah, so you are the capital of fun. So yeah, we're going to have a great time. Appreciate you, Trace. And most importantly, appreciate you, Mike. $5 super chat. That sounds like a dog bowl to me if I can find my beer. Found it. It was hiding. I played hide and go seek with my own self. It's a really weird game. But predict the score for me. Let's see. Mike Concho, what's up, Chat Sports? What's up, man? Dog bowl. That's how we roll here at the Cleveland Browns Report. Super chat, $5. We'll do a dog poll. Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Woof, woof.
Chug. Woo!
I told you Trace brings the energy. Levi, 14-7 Browns. So this is a bit of a loaded question because we don't know who the quarterback is for the Ravens. Is it going to be Lamar, Huntley, or Jackson? Probably feeling more towards Huntley in the middle. Hard to say, though. It's going to be an interesting game. I think it's going to be a bit more low scoring than people are expecting. I'm going Browns 23-20 over the Ravens. A little bit of just want to believe that they can beat a second or third string Ravens team with Deshaun Watson. So even though the Browns are pretty much out of the playoff race, that's definitely deflating to a locker room. We're going to find out what this team is made of. Kind of like last year, right? Last year they made it a bit longer. That's what she said. But I think this year we're going to find out, hey, Stefanski, when you're out of the playoff race pretty much, how does your locker room respond? Or do people start getting group messages going, we can start planning golf trips in January because we can do that now. So get the score predictions in for me down below. Now, while you're doing that, I've got to tell you guys about today's sponsor, okay? So today's Cleveland Browns Report is brought to you by Fetch, the free app that allows you to scan your receipts and earn points that can be redeemed for gift cards, for gift cards to your favorite stores, restaurants, and online retailers. It's super easy to use. Use the free app to snap a photo of your receipts from purchases from any store, or click the e-receipt option and Fetch can connect to your Amazon account and you'll earn points for all your shipped orders. Plus, connect your email to earn points for every e-receipt you receive from Uber, Instacart, or any purchase you make online. Those points can then be redeemed for gift cards at your favorite stores and restaurants. Fetch is available on iPhone and Android. Use our link, chatsports.com/fetch, and enter promo code CHAT at sign-up for 5,000 bonus points when you scan your first receipt. That's the equivalent, by the way, of a free $5 gift card. It's a free app, and the 5,000 bonus points is only for a limited time, so get started now. Chatsports.com/fetch and enter promo code CHAT. The link is also in the comments and the description of today's video. We're still in the build-up process of today's show, so we're going to have some more questions while we let the audience fill in. Here we go. Shout out your city. Took long enough to get to my favorite question every single week here. Let me know where you are watching from today. Cool guy called Zone, why is everyone losing hope? I'm with you. I'm not losing hope on this week at least. I think the priority for the rest of the season, it's kind of like having a rookie quarterback. You just want to see Deshaun Watson look like Deshaun Watson, right? Go into the offseason going, hey, this team didn't finish where we wanted them to this year. I thought 10-7 might be closer to 7-10, but we've got our superstar quarterback. If you can check that box, boy, are the other boxes a lot smaller and all it requires is a little dinky number 2 pencil to check here. Shout out your city. Nathaniel's in Columbus. Ray is in Peoria. And you know what, Ray? Something's in the mail. A little surprise. It'll be there soon, hopefully. Chaos Agent is in Yorktown, Indiana. Jared Brandt is over in Washington State. Great to see Jared in the chat. One of the big-time super chatters here at the channel, no doubt about it. Let's see, where else is everyone in? Cool Guy Called Zone is in Maryland. So you're in enemy territory. Like, this game means a lot more to you. If the Browns win, this will mark the first time ever that they have beaten the Ravens in back-to-back home games. Last year and this year. Kind of sad, but hey, you got to start somewhere. Got to get that monkey off your back. 2 straight home wins against the Ravens. I think that'd be a nice little, I want Donovan Peoples-Jones at the left hash. Like, yeah, we're starting to see the superstar QB that Deshaun Watson is. Shaylin's in Dallas. I love it. Shaylin's near William.
Hi, Shaylin.
Trace is chiming in. William Bates over in Sherman, Texas. I love it. Dave, Sacramento, California. F the Ravens. Paul Brooks, the minister of F Pitt in the chat, is chiming in from Ohio. Now, let's be honest, though. It is off-season time now at the channel. And I would say really for all fans, because the next 4 games are somewhat meaningless outside of just, I want to see Deshaun Watson look awesome, right? So with that being said, what do you think the biggest priority is this offseason? Is it getting a new defensive coordinator, a new special teams coordinator? Is it revamping the defensive line, getting healthy linebackers? You could go a handful of different directions with this. Let me know what you think the biggest priority is this offseason. Luis tuning in from Monterrey, Mexico. Appreciate you joining in, Luis. Amari, ATL, but an OHIO native. ATL, I love it. I love it. Let me know what Taco Mac is. All right, Luis, defense and special teams coordinator and defensive tackle. So Luis just went with the all the above option pretty much right there. I like it. Ray thinks new defensive coordinator. I'm going to hold out hope. If the Chargers miss the playoffs, I think Brandon Staley might be fired. And man, oh man, would that be an awesome get. Because I think the Browns special teams defensive coordinator job is going to be the most sought after coordinator vacancy, in my opinion, right? Maybe the Eagles OC if Shane Steichen gets a head coaching job somewhere else. But you're taking over a defense with Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward and Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah? Yeah, say less. That's a really good situation for someone to get into. So I would love Brandon Staley, if he gets fired in LA, to come over to Cleveland and save this defense. Jersey Dog, defensive staff overhaul, Brody and shoot Sean Payton for a head coach. Did I say something? Oh, Shay. That was funny. Sean Payton, we're going to talk about some Kevin Stefanski replacements, and he's on there briefly because I don't think it's a very big possibility, but he's on there for sure. All right. I love the F Art Models coming in now by Paul Brooks. He just stirring the pot in the chat without even me asking. Now, speaking of Kevin Stefanski, what's your confidence level in him coaching next year for the Browns, right? 1 being you have no confidence whatsoever. 10 being you're absolutely certain. You are Jimmy Haslam, and you're like, I'm telling you right now, I'm not firing him. So let me know in the comment section. Scale 1 to 10. I was at a 10 back in September. I think I've gone to a 7.7, a hair below an 8, because if Deshaun Watson starts to play really well, but the Browns offense keeps going into these potholes created by Kevin Stefanski, well, maybe Andrew Berry goes, hey, I don't want to waste all of next year with Deshaun Watson. If Kevin's the problem, we'll address that right now. And you better believe Andrew Berry has no reservations. We learned it last year. No one thought Baker Mayfield was gone going into last season, right? Coming off a playoff win in Pittsburgh. Unfortunately, he got hurt. Played through it. Really tough. But we were shocked when Andrew Berry said, yep, we're going to make a trade for Deshaun Watson. At least I was. All right. Paul Brooks, 6.89. Mike's a 5. Ray's a 7. Dominique, he is the problem, and so is Berry. You have been riding Dorsey's picks. Myles Garrett. Yeah, I mean, Andrew Berry doesn't have a phenomenal track record at drafting. I see that. I still think Andrew Berry is a very, very good GM, though. So I'm not rolling away from AB just yet. Greg's at a 9. Amari's at a 7. Okay. Marcus Smith is at an 8. Josh, give it a 9. Barring anything crazy happens, he's not going anywhere. I think the crazy thing that Josh is referring to is if the Browns lose out, well, that could change things, right? Because Kevin Stefanski was a big piece of the puzzle, getting Watson to Cleveland. But he might decide, Barry that is, yeah, Stefanski, you're done. All right, we're going to jump into a mailbag at the end of the show, as we always do. So load up on your questions now. Use hashtag Browns, or you can super chat Mike Honcho, who's not even a Browns fan. He's a 49ers fan, but he's just addicted to chat sports. We appreciate you, Mike. Already super chatting so far today. Let's see if someone else that's actually a resident Browns fan of the channel wants to match Mike and keep the good times rolling here, because I've got tomorrow off. Do you have tomorrow off? Yeah. So this is kind of our Friday.
Oh, and you know what tomorrow is?
What? What's
Tomorrow's
that?
my birthday.
Holy smokes.
Tomorrow is my 24th birthday.
Okay.
So if I can
HBD.
hang out with the Browns gang and I can hang out with some Browns fans at Dawg Pound
Yeah.
and get a little shitty, I ain't
Cleveland,
gonna
let's show Trizzy Trace a good time. Let's send him into his birthday waking up feeling like hell tomorrow because of what he did at work. He would really appreciate that. All right, here we go. A lot of HBDs coming in there. So here's what we got coming up, though. As always, the latest news and rumors using our Bernie Kosar heads, plus some Kevin Stefanski replacements. We're going to run through some names if he is fired, because I do think it is an appropriate time to have this conversation. I don't think you're reaching for the stars. Definitely a bit unlikely, but so was the idea of the Browns trading for Deshaun Watson. So it kind of goes to show, don't rule anything out. And then at the end, a live Q&A. Use hashtag Browns or super chat. Okay, I think we're ready here. We ready in the ones and twos, Trace? All right, let's jump into a live Cleveland Browns report. Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report by Chat Sports. I am your host, Matthew Peterson. Now, today's episode was filmed during our live show, which this week was Wednesday at 4 o'clock Eastern, but tune in next week, Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern, as it is every single week. We're going to jump into the latest news and rumors on the Brownies. We're going to use our Bernie Kosar head. So in case you're a bit unfamiliar with it, here is our Bernie rumor meter head here. It's a bit of like a scale of believability, if you will. 0 Bernie heads on a story, it's fake news, disregard it. 4 Bernie heads, believe one. It's a fact. Take it to the bank right there. So those are our Bernie heads for today. So the first story on today's episode are the Browns turning back time. 4 Bernie heads, baby. We're going back in time because you might have seen it on Twitter already or somewhere on the internet, the World Wide Web. The Browns are going to roll out some throwback helmets, all right? Here it is. They tweet out themselves a picture of Grant Delpit sporting the white face mask. Now, I know this might not be the big uniform change you may have thought was coming. It's just a face mask change, but there's a bit of history behind this. The Browns wore white face masks, in case you don't know, for a long time, right? During the Bernie Kosar days and whatnot. In fact, did some deep digging on the story here for you all here. The Browns have not worn white face masks since 2005. After that season, they did some retro throwback gray face masks, and then they have been black face masks ever since 2015. So it's been a while since the Browns have worn white face masks. Now, next question is like, do they just open a can of worms, right? Is the next phase, the next step here, maybe alternate helmets? Am I connecting dots? Am I at a breakfast restaurant playing the kids menu? Absolutely I am, but I don't care because there were some awesome helmets this year. I think the Bengals helmet, the White Tiger, was just unbeatable. I like the Eagles. Was a fan of the Patriots throwback as well. Not all of them are on there. The Saints one is excluded. I thought the Saints helmet was chef's kiss. So would not mind at all. At least a little creativity coming from Maria of, you know what? Don't mind if we do try and get some new life and some new blood into the helmet category. Just don't put a helmet on a helmet. I wouldn't mind Brownie the Elf. Wouldn't mind the Dawg Pound logo either. All right, I'll let you guys be the deciding factor here. Be the jury for me. Should the Browns keep the white face mask moving forward? Or do you want to, I mean, one, you might have thought, and no, it's gone, I had no idea they used to wear black, right? I never really paid that close attention to it. Let me know if this is something that keeps you up at night. Yes or no. All right, next story I want to get to here. Watson, is he the sole focus now? In my eyes, like, they may not mathematically be eliminated yet, but I'm going to say the Browns are eliminated from the playoffs. Is Deshaun Watson the sole focus now moving forward? It's going to go back-to-back 4 Bernie heads, baby. Never been done before. But yeah, I think right now, the whole season, the rest of the 4 games are all about number 4. All I want to see is Deshaun Watson look awesome. And if that comes at losses, so be it. You know what I mean? I don't need the Browns to go 4-0 and Watson go teetering. No. I'd rather Deshaun Watson throw for 500 yards and 5 touchdowns, but the Browns lose every game because the Browns have their franchise quarterback. Now, if you throw 500 yards, you're not losing. But you get the point I'm trying to make here, okay? Because with the Browns out of the playoffs, essentially, all eyes are on Deshaun Watson, in my opinion. Now, priority number 1 is seeing Watson return to superstar status, in my opinion. I also would like to see the year end on a bit of a high note for Deshaun Watson so that we can go into the offseason thinking, you know what? We have got our superstar quarterback, right? We have checked that box. Everything is taken care of. We've got our man with Deshaun Watson. Now, we'll get to more on this story in just a moment, but today's Browns Report is brought to you by Fetch, the free app that allows you to scan your receipts and earn points that can be redeemed for gift cards to your favorite stores, restaurants, and online retailers. It's super easy to use. Use the app to snap a photo of your receipts from purchases from any store or click the e-receipt option and Fetch can connect to your Amazon account and you'll earn points for all shipped orders. Plus, connect your email to earn points for every e-receipt and you receive from Uber, Instacart, or any other purchase you make online. Those points can be redeemed for gift cards at your favorite stores and restaurants. Fetch is available on iPhone and Android. Use our link, chatsports.com/fetch, and enter promo code chat at signup for 5,000 points when you scan your first receipt. That's the equivalent of a free $5 gift card. It's a free app, and the 5,000 bonus points, well, they're only for a limited time. So get started now. Chatsports.com/fetch. Enter promo code chat. The link is also in the comments and the description of today's show. All right, looking ahead here, the remaining schedule for Cleveland, as we talk about what the tension is moving forward, you got the Ravens, you got the Saints, then you close out the season going to Washington and going to Pittsburgh. You don't have a first-round draft pick to, sink or tank for. Right now it belongs to Houston, and it's currently 12th overall. So sure, you don't want to give them a better pick, but I don't really care too much about that. If you lose a couple more games, well, you're currently slated to pick 43rd overall in the second round. So you can look at that and go, hey, maybe go from 43 to 39 or 43 to 40 or something like that. All I care about, though, is Deshaun Watson being it, being him, being the guy, which I don't have many concerns of. I just want to go into the offseason knowing, hey, the Browns may have some issues, but they have the biggest obstacle hurdled, which is they've got their superstar quarterback. The improvement we saw from week 13 to week 14 went to show, yep, that was just 700 days of rust in week 13. He played a so-so game in week 14 and still had some incredible plays that don't show up in the box score, but watching the game, you went, oh yeah, that's the NFL passing leader from 2020. So the biggest thing for me to watch for going forward for the rest of the season here is I want to see the growth and the connection between Kevin Stefanski and Deshaun Watson. Are these two going to show, hey, this is the head coach and quarterback duo for the next decade? Right? You know what I mean? Because one of the two is a lot easier to replace, and it's not Deshaun Watson. So for Kevin Stefanski's sake, he has to show that he is the head coach, not just for this team, but for Watson. Because Haslam sunk about $250 million into number 4. He's sticking by him. So if the offense starts kicking ass and taking names, but Kevin Stefanski keeps rearing his ugly head in front of Watson and keeps putting the offense in potholes, well, Andrew Berry might go, you know what? We are going to make a change, and it's not the quarterback. It's you, Kevin. We'll get to our final story and more in just a moment, but I quickly want to show some love to you guys, the viewers who make this channel possible. Here are some members of the Noti gang. First ones in the video, first ones commenting more often than not. So AFX Apocalypse, appreciate you. Corey, Jonathan, D. Yates, Emmett's always in the comment section early on. If you want to be a part of the Noti gang, click the bell icon. That way when a video drops, you'll get a notification. Hop in, like the video, be one of the first to comment like so many of you are. But let's grow the Noti gang a bit more. What do you say? Third and final story today. The big one. Kevin Stefanski. Is he on the hot seat? I'm going to go two Bernie heads. Which is right in the middle, because I don't think you can say Kevin Stefanski has the head coaching job for 2023 no matter what. I don't think we're at that point. I think the way this team has stuttered on offense the last 2 weeks, and more than just the last 2 weeks, to be honest with you, I mean, we were led to believe, by me mostly, but still the point being, hey, when Watson comes back, this offense is going to flourish. Well, right now it's like a rusty Ferrari that's been, just completely water damage. It is not anything you want to drive. So I did see these Vegas odds come out of the next head coach to be fired. And Stefanski's too. Vegas doesn't like to get things wrong. Vegas does not like to get things wrong. What does Vegas know to have Stefanski at 2 ahead of Cliff Kingsbury? Someone that I definitely think is on the way out after this year. This might be one of those, what does Vegas know that we don't know? Maybe there is something going on. Maybe there's something brewing in Berea of, you know what? If Stefanski does not show that he is going to be a good coach for Watson the next 4 games, they'll cut bait and they'll move on. I thought Stefanski was safe no matter what this year because he was a huge factor in getting Deshaun Watson to Cleveland, and I still do believe that. I still think that. But these next 4 games are huge. I'm not as confident as I once was. If I was at a 10 before, I'm at a 7.7, right? I've definitely reeled back a little bit to the point where I don't think Stefanski can show up 30 minutes late with Cheetos dust on his fingers and go, I've got the job next year. Who cares about the next month? Because the Browns schedule, like we had mentioned earlier, Ravens, Saints, Commanders, Steelers, there's not some easy, horrible teams. You already played the Texans, and you didn't score a touchdown offense against them. You got the Ravens, who are never an easy out. We know this. The Saints, well, they're not good, but they're not the worst in football. The Commanders are looking like a playoff team, and the Steelers are the Steelers. And if that Week 18 game is the difference maker for Mike Tomlin going above or below 500, you better believe Pittsburgh's going to wrap up, first off, they're going to put Ben Roethlisberger in Kenny Pickett's jersey and just cart him out there in a wheelchair and be like, no, it's Pickett. See, no way Big Ben came back. But what is your confidence level in Stefanski coaching next year? I set him at a 7.7. Where are you? Scale it for me 1 to 10. Let me know in the comment section below how confident you are that Kevin Stefanski is going to be the Cleveland Browns head coach in 2023. I also want to give a quick shout out to Monica R. Monica, appreciate your super thanks so much here on the channel. A $10 super thanks. Really appreciate that. All those donations, all those contributions help us get more studio time. So if you like the free content and you are feeling like you want to be an MVP, a super thanks, a super chat goes a long way. To wrap up the show, you all know this. It's a weekly staple. It's Petey's Doghouse. After the loss, there's no extra treats. There's no one off the leash. Here's how it looks. On the leash, the offensive line. The offensive line has just been cheeks the last couple of weeks. It really has. And I don't have a very good answer other than when Ethan Posick went down, it's not like Froholt has been a huge liability, but things have been different. That is for sure. Backyard only is Denzel Ward, right? This is, hey, I trust the dog, but I'm not going to take him outside and play with other dogs. Because Denzel Ward, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd were both out. We all knew where the ball was going to Jamar Chase. And despite that, him and Joe Woods could not take Jamar Chase out of the game. Chase is great, but when you know where the ball is going, you think you'd be a little bit more prepared. And then the doghouse is Kevin Stefanski. Your team was back against the wall. Had to win against the Bengals. The toughest game remaining. Win that game, and you got a decent path to the playoffs. Run the table, but not undoable. Instead, you gave up countless penalties, undisciplined football, and a horrible offensive game plan in a lot of ways. And yeah, 4th and 1, Jacoby Brissett shot to the end zone from the 25. Probably not a good idea. I appreciate all of you guys for tuning in to today's show, making us a part of your day. We'll see you guys later. Okay. Should the Browns keep the white face masks? Let me know in the comments section what you think. We got Super Chat coming in. Let's go. Joshua Miller. Joe O-line nicked center back next year. Yeah, so Ethan Posick only signed a 1-year contract this year with the Browns. So it will be interesting to see if they re-sign him or if they want to roll with Nick Harris because, well, he's still very much there. Joshua Miller, appreciate the Super Chat. We are out of the playoff race around game 17 or 18. Do we play Watson after what just happened to Kyler Murray and risk Watson missing next year? I do see the concern of like, hey, if you're out, should you shut everyone down? I don't love that style and that culture. I think one thing we learned from last year was Baker Mayfield got shut down for week 18, right? Once the Browns were officially eliminated, he decided, now I'm going to start to rest. And at the surface, that kind of made sense. In the Browns locker room, that was not received well because this is a fraternity, right? This is a brotherhood. These are guys who play for each other and play through injuries and battle through injuries the whole season. So the optics of, hey, Watson, we're going to bubble wrap you these last 2 weeks, I don't know if that's the message you want to send to the rest of the locker room. I get it because of what happened to Kyler Murray, but also this is football. This is their job. They are paid to play football. You got to play them. You got to see Watson get more cobwebs out of his system this year so that they're not coming up in weeks 1 and 2 of next year. So I understand the college football mindset sort of like sit out the bowl game. It doesn't matter. Get ready for next year. But also, he's paid $230 million. If you were paying someone that much money, you'd want to see them play. All right. We talked about this earlier, though. Should the Browns keep the white face masks? We do have a $5 super chat. That's a dog bowl. While I take this dog bowl, Trace, you want to give some shout-outs?
First of all, chug, 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 chug. All right, Jack Cady, he said that he would keep the face mask. Shaylin said she'd keep the face mask.
Amari's going yes. Mick is going the 4.
Cool guy said yes.
Bucky hit with a cannonball. $10 super chat. We'll get the fireball out. Some producer and host shots. $10 super chat. That's a true cannonball coming. Aiden, if we have an opportunity to get a better second string QB, do we? So when the Browns signed Kellen Mond back in August, I was surprised, but I think Andrew Berry was thinking, hey, I got to think 1 year in advance. And I know Jacoby Brissett's not coming back next year. And I know about 50% of starting quarterbacks miss some time at some point during the regular season. So you know what? I'm willing to bring in Kellen Mond for the season, have him and Dobbs sort of compete to be next year's backup. And whoever I think looks better in practice is going to have that job. So I'm kind of leaning towards Kellen Mond returning. I'm not saying Kellen Mond's a good quarterback. I'm saying I think that's the Browns' plan. Otherwise, I think they would have released Kellen Mond, right? But them holding on to him kind of makes me think he's got the inside track. Let's throw the super chat menu up on screen, really, Trace. Yeah, no problem. Ray, if the Browns want to shut down Deshaun, they should have kept playing Jacoby to finish the season. Yeah, this is why there were some people saying, hey, maybe it's a good idea for the NFL to suspend Deshaun Watson for a full season. That way the Browns don't waste one of his 5 years on his contract just for 6 games. No. You need him to get the cobwebs out. You do not want him to miss 2 years of football. I'm sure we would have preferred a lesser suspension, no doubt about it, but it was important for Watson to play this year, so have him play this year. Happy hour menu looks like this. $2 super chat. You can ask me anything you'd like. $5 super chat. We've done it twice today. We'll get the dog bowl out. $10 super chat. We'll get some fireball shots rolling here. And then $40 super chat. I still love it. You guys can let me know if the fad is over. But it's the shotgun race, right? Between myself and, well, today, producer Trace. And he's one American red-blooded drinking machine. We'll We'll get the shotgun race out between the two of us. And then $46, I got all these props around me. We've got the Dawg Pound, right? The Wall of Fame. So many legends of the channel on the board here. $46, your name will be etched into Cleveland Browns history. We've got one. Shaylin, where's Patrick? Patrick is been shifted to a different department today. He's working with the NBA crew. So
Patrick is no longer with us, I guess you could say.
Well, that's a bit more morbid. But yeah, Patrick is working with our NBA channels here at Chat Sports.
And then he also has NBA Live later with Marshall Green.
Right, so moving to a Wednesday threw things out of loop, unfortunately. But Trace, I mean...
Sorry, Shaylin. I'm not Patrick.
He's not Patrick, but I would say kind of like a... I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good backup that was low-key maybe even better than the starter at times. You're a Jacoby Brissett producer.
I was going to say, am I Jacoby Brissett?
I think you might be Jacoby Brissett.
I'm Jacoby Brissett.
And I think
There
Jacoby
it is.
Brissett's a very good backup.
Hey.
He's not even backup. He's a starter.
No, he's a starter.
Right.
He's over half the league, over half the season. He started, so he's the starting quarterback.
Yep, exactly. Agreed. All right, so that is our happy hour menu. If you like the free content, you want to show some love, want to show some support to the channel, by all means, feel free to do so. So next up, we're going to jump into some Kevin Stefanski replacements here on the channel. We'll go into the photo. So this is, I would say, agreed, a bit premature-ish, and I know that, but Jeremy's, okay, sorry, I lost my train of thought here. I know it's a bit premature-ish, the Kevin Stefanski replacements, but I don't think it is out of the realm of possibilities that the Browns move on from Stefanski. I think it's greater than non-zero. In fact, I think it's greater than like 2 or 3%. So because it's a non-zero, we'll tickle this bone a little bit and see where it goes. Oh, yeah. Well, Shaylin, you're getting Coop all sorts of riled up right now, picking favorites at Chat Sports. I know. All right. So we'll leave the Chat Sports drama for another channel. Let's jump into, though, for some Kevin Stefanski replacements. Trace, whenever you're ready on the ones and twos. Coming up on today's show, we're going to check out some Kevin Stefanski replacements if it gets to that point. I don't think we're there, but I do think it's a greater than non-0% chance that this happens. So we're going to run through some listed names to keep an eye on, some top candidates, if you will. Now, I want to get this out right off the bat, though. I do not think Kevin Stefanski, A, should be fired, and I might be in the minority for this now, but I'm going to stand by it, and B, I don't think he will be fired. But this guy right here, Andrew Berry, he taught us last year. Never say never. Never rule anything out. I didn't think the Browns were moving out from Baker Mayfield last year, and here we are today. So Andrew Berry has a bit of a track record to show if I can make an improvement, I will do so. And if Andrew Berry catches wind of, I don't know, say someone like this guy right here, Sean Payton, wanting to be the next Cleveland Browns head coach, well, that's definitely an improvement for Kevin Stefanski. I don't think even Stefanski could argue that. Now, on the topic of Sean Payton, I'm not going to formally include him in my replacements list because I think it's a big long shot for a variety of reasons. One, we don't even know if he wants to come back. We think he does, but we don't know for certain. Two, if he does come back, the Browns have not been listed in teams he's interested in, but let's say he's interested in the Chargers job, for example, really quickly, and that doesn't open up. Well, you know what's probably the most intriguing job? The job with Deshaun Watson and Myles Garrett, right? A top 10 quarterback and a top 5 defensive player across the entire league. So I think Sean Payton might go, I didn't maybe have my sight set on Cleveland, Ohio, but yeah, I think I can roll with this roster. I think I can do some good things with it. Now, with that being said, let's jump into some more, I would say, realistic formal replacements if Kevin Stefanski is fired, starting with Frank Reich. If we get to this point, and this whole show is one big if, but we also thought Baker Mayfield wouldn't be traded, so it was, a lot of players last year. Tyreek Hill, so goes on. Frank Reich, in my opinion, would be an awesome Stefanski replacement. Now, he was the Indianapolis Colts head coach up until middle of this season. He went 40-33-1 with Indy. He was the Eagles OC, in case you don't remember, back in 2016 and 2017. He helped him win a Super Bowl, so he definitely knows a thing or two about winning. And he's also had a bit of a raw deal, in my opinion, when he was down with the Colts. He had a different week one starting quarterback each season he was there. So he never got a chance to really build something from the bottom to the top with one quarterback. You know who's going to be here for at least the next 4 years and hopefully longer? Deshaun Watson. So I think Frank Reich could do an awesome job. I think Frank Reich is going to be the crown jewel of this upcoming head coaching hiring season, if you will. Now, I don't know if he's going to go the Doug Peterson route and maybe sit out for a year, or if he's going to want to jump right back into the thick of things. But I think if the job is open, Frank Reich would be an awesome candidate. Now, before you go, hey, wait. I don't want to hire Frank Reich. He did not do well in Indianapolis this year. That's true. I also want to point out that second chances are a really important thing in life, like in football too. Bill Belichick, Tom Coughlin, Mike Shanahan, Pete Carroll are all guys who had second chances with another team, and they did really well with that second opportunity. Sometimes you need to learn from your mistakes, like any job or any human being ever. So for that reason, yeah, I wouldn't have much of an issue with affording or reaching out a second chance to Frank Reich or some other coaches we'll look at here. But you tell me, from the start, should the Browns even move on from Kevin Stefanski? I'm going to go with no. I do not want to continue to be a joke and a laughingstock of, did the Browns just fire their NFL AP Coach of the Year from 2 years ago? Now, I also agree we had the same logic for Baker Mayfield of, well, this is the best quarterback the Browns have had like in ever, and they're going to move on from him? Well, this is the best Browns head coach we've had in quite some time, but I don't think you should just settle, but I still believe the Browns should stick with Kevin Stefanski. All right, next replacement option is going to be Dan Quinn. Kind of going down that path of second chances here. I know things didn't go super smooth when he was with the Falcons, but I think if Frank Reich is not going to enter the mix, enter the pool this January, Dan Quinn's probably going to be the number one candidate this coaching cycle. Maybe some other guys we'll look at later on, but as it stands right now, I'm going to lean Quinn. Now, maybe second time's the charm, right? Maybe he just needs a second opportunity to learn from his mistakes when he was with the Falcons. And I think Dan Quinn is a great head coach. I understand he's not an offensive guy. And Dan Quinn, when you've got an offensive built team with Deshaun Watson, maybe you should stick on the offensive side. But I'll play devil's advocate with you and say this. Kevin Stefanski is a play sheet offensive guru. And how's that working out right now for Cleveland? I don't think you should just be married to only offensive gurus, only young offensive coordinators can be next head coaches. No, it doesn't always work out. It's working out right now for Kevin O'Connell. Zach Taylor just got lucky because they got Joe Burrow, let's be honest. But I don't think you have to be glued to that type of coaching candidate. But let me know this. Do you prefer a first-time head coach or a second chance head coach, right? You want to go with a Frank Reich, a Dan Quinn, a second opportunity, or maybe someone like Kevin Stefanski, who that was his first time being an NFL head coach. Let me know down below in the comments. All right, the next replacement option is an interesting one. It's Jim Harbaugh. Yeah, the team up north. So Harbaugh, of course, had a ton of success. I mean, you may not like the guy right now, but you can't deny he was an awesome coach when he was with the 49ers. He went 44-19. That's insane. He was there for 4 years. Of those 4 years, they were in the NFC Championship game 3 times. His first year, 6-10, straight to NFC Championship game. They went to the Super Bowl, lost to his brother John, but he had a phenomenal record when he was with the 49ers. He also, in case you don't remember, was nearly traded to Cleveland back in 2014. A trade was pretty much all but done in the offseason, but he decided, I don't want to be the coach for the Browns. So what has changed now then, you ask? Well, we'll get to that. But first, I know what probably a lot of you are thinking. He's not leaving Michigan. Move on. Leave. He's not leaving Michigan. Okay. We've also heard tons of times, Deshaun Watson's not going to Cleveland. Well, look where we are now. But I do want to share this tweet with you guys here. We're reporter tweeting out that Jim Harbaugh on NFL rumors with as strong a shutdown as he's ever given. I will enthusiastically be back as the Wolverines and back of the Wolverines head coach, whatever. Back as coach of the Wolverines in 2023. Okay. I know he said that, but you are the coach until you're not the coach, until a better gig, until a better offer comes around, and then you reevaluate things. We see this all the time in college football, and even it can bleed over to the NFL of you may say one thing, you may say he is our quarterback until he is not your quarterback. I also want to remind you guys of this quote from Jim Harbaugh a couple months ago. Sure, the Super Bowl is the greatest prize in our sport, but winning a national championship, that's pretty darn great. So then it brings us to this, and you may not want to see Michigan win a natty, but if Michigan does win the national championship, might Harbaugh decide, you know what? I have gotten to the peak of college football. I now want to go win a Super Bowl trophy. I want to get a Super Bowl ring. And what's the best team to take over right now? Wow, that team with Deshaun Watson, Myles Garrett, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, Nick Chubb, Amari Cooper, Denzel Ward, that's a pretty good roster to take on. A lot better than being the head coach of the Houston Texans, right? Or the Indianapolis Colts. So I think the Browns, if Harbaugh decides, I do want to give the NFL another try, since I have, reached the top of college football, Cleveland would be a pretty appealing job if you ask me. All right, we'll get to more head coaching candidates in just a moment, but I do want to ask this quick question here. Never asked this before, but I'm curious to see what the responses are. Are you subscribed? And if so, for how long, right? Let me know when you subscribed to the channel to the best of your memory. Was it when Deshaun Watson got traded? Was it when Baker Mayfield got traded, right? Was it sometime during the season a year ago? Let me know when you subscribe to the channel. I'm just curious to know. And hey, if you're not subscribed, subscribe and then just put today's date down in the comment section and I'll definitely thank you down below. All right, next Stefanski replacement. What about Shane Steichen? This is the big buzz name, right? This is the hot popular name. This is the next offensive guru, the next Sean McVay everyone is chasing, the golden goose. He is currently the Eagles offensive coordinator, and like I said, he is that young and up-and-coming guy everyone's talking about. Every year, there's someone. Remember Kellen Moore for the Cowboys? That's this year. That's Shane Steichen. Now, he's only 37. Now, for reference, Stefanski is 40. So, when Stefanski was hired, he was similar age to Steichen right now. He's only been coaching the NFL since 2011, so he doesn't have a long career coaching. This would be a Kevin O'Connell, Sean McVay, Stefanski, young, hire type of move. Now, he was the Browns' offensive quality control coach back in 2013. So he does know a thing or two about playing football in Northeast Ohio. And his Philadelphia Eagles offense this year is awesome. We know this. I mean, he has made, well, I don't know if I could say but he's the offensive coordinator of a team that's had Jalen Hurts be an MVP candidate. That no one really saw coming at least a year ago right now. The Eagles offense this year, by the way, they're first in points per game. They're third in total yards. Passing, they're a bit behind. But you know why? Because the football field's not long enough because they run all over it. They don't have room to pass. I really think that kind of gets forgotten sometimes. So this is definitely the hot buzzword, the hot buzz name for head coaching hires this cycle. I'll give you my opinion on it in just a moment. But first, BetUS, our sportsbook partner, they are offering the Dawg Pound a 125% deposit bonus when you get started at chatsports.com/bet. Enter promo code Browns125. When you do that, they will hook you up with a 125% deposit bonus. Now, to wrap a full bow on Shane Steichen, listen, I understand how appealing that name may be, and you go, the Eagles offense is awesome. Let's get this guy. I get it. But there's more to coaching than just, how many points per game does your offense average? How many yards per game does your offense average? I mean, Stefanski's biggest issue right now isn't scoring, isn't moving the ball. It is, how well is he outside of his play sheet? How well is he in the locker room? Does he have control of this locker room? Does he have these guys playing hard? Why are we seeing some plays where it seems like not everyone's putting in 110% effort? I don't know if we can check that box for him. So you might just be getting a younger version of what you currently have, and you're gonna be just as frustrated as you are right now in 2 or 3 years. All right, fifth and final possible replacement here. What about Brian Flores? An interesting name. former Miami Dolphins head coach, currently a defensive assistant right now with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Definitely feel like he's going to be at least a defensive coordinator next year, but he might get some head coaching buzz too. He went 24-25 as the Dolphins head coach. He had a 10-win season. His firing definitely kind of came out of the blue, but there were mixed reviews coming out of Miami. When he got fired last year, I was caught off guard. I was surprised. But now it looks like a pretty good fire because he thought Tua stunk. And Tua, well, he looks a lot better than he did ever with Brian Flores. So maybe it was more so on Flores than Tua. I'm a little bit iffy on Flores. I think Brian Flores could be a great head coach for any team. I think he's a coach that players play really hard for, and they're going to give him 110% effort on defense, and that's what the Browns need right now. But I don't know if he is the best guy for this team right now with Watson at QB. We went through 5 candidates. I want to know who your favorite one was. I guess you can go Sean Payton. I just don't think it's really realistic, but you can give it a shot anyway. Frank Reich, Dan Quinn, Jim Harbaugh, Shane Steichen, Brian Flores. Just put the initials in the comments section for who your favorite candidate was we looked at today. Let's see what everyone's saying here. Favorite candidate. I need a sip. Matthew, I don't like these choices. I guess you're going to love Stefanski then, because that's the next best option. There are some other names I didn't include. I don't like Eric Bieniemy. D'Amico Ryans is another one. Leslie Frazier. I think Leslie Frazier's just a bit too old. He's doing great things in Buffalo, but Todd Bowles, another name. Or not even Todd Bowles, but Byron Leftwich. Yeah, the OC for Tampa. But in terms of like D'Amico Ryans, for example, I get it. The Niners defense is awesome. I don't know. I just don't know if the next move is, if you want to fire Stefanski, to go hire another young first-time head coach, right? Doesn't that seem like maybe wash, rinse, repeat in a way? They're not the same people, so it's not fair to just box them all in. I get that. But I do think there might be something to, you know what? Let's go the Frank Reich. Let's go the veteran Dan Quinn route. So that's my 2 cents on it. Oh, I didn't even include Dr. Heat Greg Williams. No Greg Williams, guys. I hate to disappoint. All right, get your questions ready, though, in case you want to have a conversation about who you'd like to see be the next head coach for the Browns if Stefanski is fired. You got to have hashtag Browns in the chat, in your comment, or you can super chat. Skip the line altogether. Guarantee a spot on screen, $2, $5, however much you'd like. Super chat, and we'll get you on screen no matter what, and you can have your question answered by yours truly. We're getting some feedback right now from producer Trace. We need some more questions, or we're kind of good? Okay. There we go. Sean Payton from Rick. Okay. Right now, Josh is like the only one peppering the chat with questions, and Josh is a resident OG of the channel. So get your questions in there. It doesn't even have to be necessarily a question. It could just be, hey, this is my head coach preference. Just put hashtag Browns in your chat. That way we can get on there. Okay, Jack's on the right path, but they're not hiring John Gruden. So Kevin is having a bad day, it appears in the chat. This is stupid. Kevin, we got to get you into, I don't know, a dog bowl type of mood. Uh-oh, nearly knocked the whole beer over. We got to raise morale a little bit for you there. All right, so get those questions in, hashtag Browns, or if you want to make a head coaching prediction, or not even prediction, but a head coaching, preference order, just put hashtag Browns and put which coach you want to do. KR Thunder, are we traumatized fans because so many head coaches haven't worked out? KR Thunder, it's a good question. Put hashtag Browns. If you don't put hashtag Browns, the software can't pull it and we can't get it on screen. It just doesn't work that way. So please put hashtag Browns like Amory Thanos did right there. Fetch, yeah. Okay, Jack, we're getting a little bit closer to, make-believe land, or more realistic. But, no, Ryan Day, he's not getting fired. He made the playoff. If he didn't make the playoff, that would have been different, I think. I still think he's getting fired. Jared Brandt, here we go. All right, we're getting some more questions in. Hashtag Browns. Or super chat if you want to support the show. It definitely goes a long way. You can be today's MVP. Right now, that is between Mike and Josh. So if you want to be, the king of the castle for today's live Browns report, I have a chair. Exactly. All right. We ready? Okay. Need to wet my beak a little bit. Ready to rock and roll? All right. Let's jump into an award-winning Cleveland Browns mailbag. What's going on, everyone? Welcome into our Cleveland Browns Report mailbag edition. Now, today's show was filmed during our live show, which was on Wednesday at 4 o'clock Eastern. I invite you all to join us next week, every Thursday, really, at 4 Eastern, when the Browns aren't playing on Saturday. So maybe it will be Wednesday next week. Regardless, we got some super chats and some questions you guys asked. So let's start things off with Joshua Miller. If we are out of the playoff race around game 17 or 18, do we play Watson after what just happened to Kyler Murray and risk Watson missing next year? Well, Josh, I kind of see where you're coming from of you don't want to see your quarterback get hurt in a meaningless football game. And I do get that. But I'll say a couple things to this question. One, they're out of the playoff race. Let's accept that, right? You need the Browns to win out and the Bengals and the Ravens to lose out. That's not happening. So in my eyes, the Browns are already toast. Now, in terms of, shutting him down for the last week or two of the season, I go back to last year. Baker didn't play week 18. That's a video for another day, but that definitely rubbed players the wrong way in the locker room in terms of, hey, we played hard all year and you're just going to bow out the last game of the season. So I don't like that. I'll also add, you're paying the guy $230 million. You better believe Haslam wants to see him play. And I get it, a meaningless game. You don't want to see him get hurt. And if he does, the pitchforks are going to come out. But I also think, no, he should use these next 4 games to shake more cobwebs out and get more familiar with this system and get ready for next year. McLovin, will the Browns re-sign Jack Conklin? Good question. Better name. Will the Browns re-sign Jack Conklin? Okay, let's talk about Jack Conklin a bit because he spoke to the media a couple days ago and was talking about how he wants to finish his career in Cleveland. And he wants to, he's a Cleveland Brown for life. And Cleveland is his home, and that's great to see. So I'm not necessarily opposed to not re-signing Jack Conklin. It's just kind of Jarvis Landry-esque of last year, of brain and heart. Like I said, Mary Kay tweeted out, good job, producer Trace, getting on the ones and twos. Cleveland will be my home forever. He wants to finish his career here. That's Jack Conklin. So I get it when it's like, hey, he's been awesome for the Browns when healthy. PFF grades this year, middle-ish of the pack, upper half, 42 out of 79. Overall grade, 67.7. I think the Browns probably want to turn things over to someone like James Hudson. If Jack Conklin is dying to stay in Cleveland, maybe he'll take a cheap one-year deal or something like that if the Browns are even interested in offering it. But my guess is his run game has really regressed this year, and it's his knee, and it's unfortunate. But that's just the truth of the matter. So I just don't see Andrew Berry pushing to bring him back next year. So even if he wants to finish here, I don't see the Browns are interested in a reunion. I think they want to see their guy, James Hudson, start at right tackle next year. But be the GM, be the coach. Would you re-sign Jack Conklin? Yes or no? I think it's a difference of what would you do versus what the Browns would do, right? And ultimately, it's all about what the Browns would do. But let me know what you're thinking. I personally am going to probably go with the no. This ground game has not been good this year, and Jack Conklin is probably at the end of his line, at least with the Browns. All right. Jack, Caddy, hire John Gruden. No. Next. Ray, Matthew, I'm thinking the Browns should look to pick a receiver with their first-round pick in 2023. What are you thinking? Ray, are you sitting down for this? I've got bad news, man. They don't have a first-round pick in 2023. The Deshaun Watson trade took the 2022 first-rounder, 2023, and 2024. So I've got bad news, buddy. No first-round draft pick. Joshua Miller, what's up? Frank Reich or Zimmer with Fangio as DC? So I'll start this with Vic Fangio, defensive coordinator, which I think Vic Fangio is an offensive defensive guy in the NFL. No doubt about it. The only thing is he goes to a 3-4 defense. Does that fit the Browns very well? The Browns don't have a plethora of linebackers. And you'd have to move Myles Garrett from a, 5 technique, 3 technique down lineman to standing, right? Coming off the edge. Kind of like TJ Watt a little bit here. Now, as for Frank Reich or Mike Zimmer, give me Frank Reich every single day of the week. We'll get to more questions you guys have in just a moment. But first, today's Browns Report is brought to you by Fetch, the free app that allows you to scan your receipts and earn points that can be redeemed for gift cards to your favorite stores, restaurants, and online retailers. It's super easy to use. Use the free app to snap a photo of your receipts from purchases from any store, or click the e-receipt option, and Fetch can connect to your Amazon account and you'll earn points for all shipped orders. Plus, connect your email to earn points for every e-receipt you receive from Uber, Instacart, or any purchase you make online. Those points can be redeemed for gift cards at your favorite stores and restaurants. Fetch is available on iPhone and Android. Use our link, chatsports.com/fetch, and enter promo code CHAT at signup for 5,000 bonus points when you scan your first receipt. That's the equivalent of a free $5 gift card. Now, here's the thing. It's a completely free app, but those 5,000 bonus points are only available for a limited time. So get started right now. Chatsports.com/fetch and enter promo code CHAT. All that information is in the comments and the description of today's show. Next question coming in from Thanos. Why do you think the who do you think the Browns should draft in the second round of the draft? Okay. Who do I think the Browns should draft in the second round this year? I'm going to go defensive tackle. Siaka Ika. Yeah. The defensive tackle out of Baylor is definitely a really popular name. Jerron Dexter, the defensive tackle from Florida, that's definitely another popular name. I think the priority should be defensive line. Now, I wouldn't be shocked if Andrew Berry does what he did last year, which is maybe he had someone in mind, and if that guy is taken, he'll trade back and he'll stock up more picks again. And he's very happy with going a Martin Emerson pick and just getting a boatload of picks again. So don't be surprised if Andrew Berry decides, hey, I want to move back and get more third, fourth, even future draft picks if his guy's not there. I'm also in the camp of, in the second round and later, best player available. They may not be a need you have right now, but don't turn down talent you believe is there for someone you just need right now and stinks, right? Like if you need a defensive tackle and you pick Tommy Togiai, well, you'll be bummed by passing on some other guys that, well, maybe you didn't need a wide receiver then, but the next year you do, and you've already got one waiting. All right, we got another question coming in from Kevin Burns. Super chat coming in from Kevin. Does Kevin Stefanski deserve to be head coach if he doesn't fire Joe Woods? So Kevin Stefanski's biggest deficiency as a head coach in my eyes is delegating, right? He has to delegate the defense and the special teams to his coordinators. And he botched those, right? Mike Prefer and Joe Woods are just not the guys. So if he can't move on from his buddies and fire his pals who have been there with him since he took this job in 2020, then I don't know if he should deserve to be fired, but man, oh man, is that going to get a lot of people's blood boiling, and that's going to make the seat even hotter next year. If he sticks by his guns, and his guns are muskets, and it's 2022, and we're getting outshot at because the other team has cannons. That's an interesting war analogy I just made, but you get the gist here of if he doesn't make the changes that he needs to make, that's definitely going to, start the fuse a bit earlier. Now, if you are looking for a Cleveland Browns YouTube channel where you can be interactive like this, right? Ask questions during the mailbag, get on screen, let your takes and your voice be heard, hit that big red button and subscribe. No fake fans allowed, though. Got to be real ones only. If you're a real one, if you're subscribed, let me know in the comments section. Crossed Wires, what's up? Any players on the trading block this offseason? Oh, I get it now. Somewhere our wires got crossed. Great show. Okay, to the actual question you're asking, though. Not really. I don't see a Troy Hill type of trade coming this year or a Mac Wilson trade, but we did see a lot of trades for Andrew Berry last year. This would be the eye-popping one. Denzel Ward. One, you got a lot of guys on expiring contracts. Like, you're not trading Taki, right? His deal's up after this season. No one wants to trade for Jordan Elliott or Tommy Togiai. But Denzel Ward is an interesting case because maybe Andrew Berry decides, you know what, I made a mistake. And I gave him $100 million, and we have seen the best football out of him already. And the injuries, they are just too big of a hurdle because we can't keep paying a guy who doesn't play a full season. Those are all fair arguments to make, no doubt about it. So if Andrew Berry, who is short some draft capital in the coming years because of the Deshaun Watson trade, can fetch a first for Denzel Ward, well, you better believe he's going to think about it, especially when you consider Martin Emerson is not just like a kind of Greedy Williams caliber pick of he'll probably be here his rookie contract worth 4 years and then replace him and move on. Now, Martin Emerson's looking like the best cornerback on this team right now. So if that's the case, that could make moving on from Denzel Ward a whole lot easier. Gun to my head, I don't think he gets traded. But also, if he does get traded, it's going to be one of those, you get the notification from us here at the channel, and you go, wow, the Browns actually did it. Not like, holy smokes, never saw this coming in a billion years. But let's show Denzel Ward some love right now. Let's show him some support from the Dawg Pound. If you believe he will bounce back, spam 21 down in the comments section below. That way he knows, you know what, I know this year hasn't gone to plan, hasn't gone to script, but I've got Browns backers all over the world believing in me and believing in a return to the top of the CB world he was next season. All right. Let's go. I think I owe a dog bowl for that Mr. Kevin Burns super chat. Appreciate you, Kevin. Thank you so much. Shaylin saying you all stink. Who stinks? Dog bowl. Cannonball.
Chug, 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 chug. So it's because Shaylin, she asked, Matthew, can we go to the Mamma Mia experience in London? Text me back. And I said, no, sorry, he's busy. And then she said, fake Trace. And then Coop said, absolutely not.
All right, she has turned the show into Desperate Housewives of the Cleveland Browns Report.
Pretty much.
Jared Brandt, 21, appreciate you. Joshua Miller, 21. Next year, top 3 CB guaranteed. I sure hope so, man. He's paid number 2 right now. So he's only behind Jair Alexander by $500,000. So he better be top 3 next year. No doubt about it. I feel attacked. AFX Apocalypse, good to see you, man. If somehow Jackson Smith falls to the Browns in the second round, would you take him over a defensive tackle? That is the territory, AFX Apocalypse, of best player available, right? If you think Jackson Smith and Jigba is going to be the next DK Metcalf of round 2, yeah, you take him. Because sure, maybe going into this year or next year, you might not feel like you have a huge need at wide receiver, because you're like, Donovan Peoples-Jones is awesome. David Bell's coming up the wings. Amari Cooper's rocking and rolling. But you know what? Who's to say who's going to be on the roster the following season? So, yeah, if Jackson Smith and Jigba's there and he is higher up on Andrew Berry's big board, let's say Big Berry, his big board, sorry to defensive tackle, that might be just the next Jordan Elliott for this team. I'll take best player available every single day. I think I've said before, my tombstone will read, take the points in the first half, Kevin Stefanski, and take the best player in the draft. Best player available, unless it's a quarterback in round 1 and you need a quarterback. That is the only time. I love it. Joe, we need a burner. Yeah, this Browns team definitely needs some speed. Mecole Hardman has been a guy I've talked about before. Going to be a free agent. You need someone on the offense when they come on the field that the defense has to respect and go, you know what, let's take a step back a little bit. Because this is going to stretch the field a little bit. Because if defenses learn after a couple of weeks, there's no one who can beat us beat. We don't need to give them 10 yards of slack. We can play press man, and they can't outrun us. Well, that's going to make life a whole lot difficult for the quarterback because his receivers are going to get no separation. So they definitely need someone to take the top off of the defense. BK Louisville, how do you think we're going to get anybody with no draft picks? Give me a break, dude. One, we've seen a lot of teams just miss on their first-round draft picks and be okay. Like, the Titans were the 1 seed in the AFC last year. Tell me the last 3 first-round draft picks for the Titans and how they've done. You see what I'm saying? Like, first-round draft picks are great and all, don't get me wrong, but there are a lot of teams who have missed on first-round draft picks and have been okay. They make do. So, I don't think it's no first-round draft pick. They're sunk. They have no chance. So I'm not going to go all the way that far. Josh, do we think the draft capital to move into round 1 if a player starts sliding that was supposed to be taken earlier? Or do we have the draft capital? The Browns have 8 picks in the draft. They have their own second, their own third. They also have an additional comp pick from Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah being hired by Minnesota. You could bundle your second. I don't have the calculator in front of me, but you could bundle your second with your third and another pick, and maybe that gets you to pick 31, 29 to 31 range. The issue is those picks are really coveted because when you draft someone in the first round, you got it potentially for 5 years. And in a GM, like that's contract porn right there, right? To have someone under contract for 5 years compared to 4, it's a whole lot cheaper than free agency. And when they've got to fill out a 53-man roster, it's tough to do that spending money in free agency. The draft is a much cheaper option. All right, here we go. David, what are your thoughts on having Harbaugh as our head coach? I do not like it. I do. One, I'm not an Ohio State guy. I went to Tennessee. So, if you can get past the mental hurdle of, I hate Jim Harbaugh, I hate Michigan, I don't want him near my team at all on Sunday, that's fair. I get that. I wouldn't want Nick Saban on the Browns. But having said all that, Harbaugh had a phenomenal record when he was with the 49ers. So I think Harbaugh would be a fantastic get for the Browns if they were to move on from Kevin Stefanski. Okay, so with this being said now, we are going to shift into what I like to call the freelance portion of today's show. So you guys know it's Wednesday, so it's not Steelers talk that's trying to get in here. It's the Ravens rundown with Tyler Jones. Now, if we keep getting super chats, we get to keep in the studio. We get to stay in the studio. If we go through me and producer Trace's favorites without any super chats, well, then we have to relinquish the studio space to the Baltimore Ravens rundown, which I think they're going to do a preview of this Saturday's game. So would be nice to, make the Ravens crew stay a bit late on a Wednesday night and get Trace and I out of here a bit earlier.
Why not?
Yeah.
Bunch of losers anyway.
Okay.
The Ravens.
So my favorite, you guys know, favorite and underdog time of the show. My favorite's the Vikings, -4.5. They're at home against the Colts. The Colts are just bad. The Colts had their one win with Jeff Saturday. They beat the Raiders. Bravo to them. But the Vikings, they're coming off a loss to the Lions. 4.5-point favorites against a bad Colts team. They're a 10-win Vikings team. This seems like stealing candy from a baby easy. I am absolutely making out and getting in love with the Vikings -4.5 line, as grotesque as that sounds.
Oh, yeah. I think that the Vikings lines this year have been one of the most difficult to consistently bet on because they're so back and forth. It's like, are they good? Are they bad? Are they going to be good teams? Are they going to lose to good teams? How do you compete and play well with the Eagles early in the season and, run up all this hype?
Yeah.
But then just to get shit on by the Lions.
Exactly. BK Louisville and Kevin Costner got all of these back. Yeah. We get David Putney. It's going to change the whole day. All right. So that is my favorite. Like I said, if we get super chat, we get to keep the studio space going here. We'll move into my underdog and then Trace's. And if we run through that with no supers, we got to bounce. But my underdog, I'm going to go with the Giants +4.5. They tied, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, whenever it was. This is Sunday Night Football. I don't know if the Commanders are that much better than the Giants. So I think they're both kind of fraudulent teams. I know the Commanders have been, hot lately, and the Giants had the hot start. But I'll take 4.5 points for a team that tied last time. And the Giants outplayed Washington, I thought, when they met 2 weeks ago, whenever it was. So, no, I like the Giants +4.5 right there. So that is my underdog right there. Trace, let's move into your picks right now. Trace, your favorite.
All right.
No bias.
I like no bias here. I like Saints -4. It's a game at the Superdome.
Yeah.
Desmond Ritter's starting.
No idea what to expect.
You have no idea what to expect. No Kyle Pitts. The Saints, they haven't been good this year.
Yeah.
They've been having Andy Dalton kind of play consistently. He's been consistently extremely average.
Yeah.
He's been extremely average these past few weeks. He hasn't been doing anything crazy well. Ugly loss last Monday Night Football, hopefully looking to make a bounce back for the Saints. So I think that this is actually, I kind of like Saints -4. They are the favorites in this game, which I was kind of surprised about. But if you look historically, the Saints have always played the Falcons really well and really close. And honestly, the Saints kind of own the Falcons. No bias here.
Sounds like free money. We got a super chat coming in from Josh Miller. Josh, appreciate you. Let's go, Josh. Browns-Lions Super Bowl in the next few years,
Yes.
that would
Book
be
it.
an amazing
Book it.
Super Bowl. I mean, here's probably the path to that. Next year is 2023. I think that's probably a bit too soon for the Lions of the two sides. But if the Lions went like C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young in round 1 this year and had them sit behind Jared Goff for a year, maybe it's 2024, right? Watson's 3rd year with the Browns, and they're rocking and rolling, and maybe next year they get far in the playoffs, and they win the first game or lose the second, something like that. But Browns-Lions, two teams that have never made the Super Bowl, going head-to-head, I mean, that's like America's true underdog Super Bowl right there.
Well,
I would love that, Josh. That is an amazing Super Bowl idea.
And on top of it, it would be like the two, let's call it what it is, most bashed and worst franchise over the last 20
You better
years.
believe this.
Worst NFL franchise.
If the Browns and the Lions ever play each other in a Super Bowl, both teams are hanging banners. Right? Both teams are hanging a banner of,
As they should.
we went to the Super Bowl. That's just what it'll say if they lose. We went to the Super Bowl 2025.
If Roger Goodell was smart, he would, that's the one, he's like, okay, you can tie.
Yeah.
You can tie. That's it.
Yeah, both get rings. So, yeah, that would be an awesome Super Bowl. Let's throw the Super Chat menu on real quick.
Okay.
If you want to keep the show going, Mike, good to see you in the chat, my man. The Lovable Losers Super Bowl, agreed. This is our happy hour menu, so if you want to keep the show going, you want to keep the good times rolling, $2 Super Chat, ask me anything. $5 Super Chat, we get the dog bowl out. We haven't done any fireball shots today, and it's Trace's birthday tomorrow.
Yep.
So I would love to send him off into
Yep.
his birthday spirit in a good way right now, thanks to the Dawg Pound. $40, it's a beer shotgun race between myself and Trace. And then finally, if you reach $46 in Super Chats over the course of the show, you get added to our Super Chat MVP Wall of Fame filled with legends at the channel. Okay, with that being said, we do have one more underdog to run through. And if we don't get another Super Chat after that, it's going to be the Ravens rundown running through the door here of Studio F.
Yes.
So, Trace, your underdog. Go ahead.
My underdog. Call it for what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know if Brock Purdy can make it happen in Seattle. That's tough. It's going to be a tough challenge for Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
The Niners' defense is absolutely unreal. So it's just going to be a matter of whether or not the offense couldn't put up points.
Yeah,
Because-
Seahawks plus 3.5. That's
Yeah, I kind of like
at home.
Seahawks. Yeah.
Home underdogs are always tempting.
Yeah.
They're always tempting.
Yeah.
A home underdog, I mean, that is just addict
And-
shit.
I kind of like 3.5. If it was 3, I'd be scared.
Yeah.
3.5 though.
Right.
It's both teams need to win. One team's going for the Niners are going for if you win, you're in the playoffs. The Seahawks are fighting for their lives. I don't know, man. 3.5 feels good. 3.5 feels good.
Yep, I get that. Stuart, Trace is a Saints guy. He's
am.
our Saints guy at Chat Sports, so that's his crew right there.
I am the Saints. I'm the host and producer at Saints Now. So
There we go.
there you go.
If you're any Saints fans in the chat,
There you
Trace
go.
is
We'll
your
see
man.
you guys in a couple weeks. It'll be a fun.
You're absolutely right. It will be.
It'll be a fun little watch party. I think I might be producing, either
Oh, that'd be
producing
good.
it for you or we're doing a watch party on Saints as well. I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
I know that there's some plan there.
Okay, we have gotten through our picks now, so unless we get another Super Chat, I'll get the timer out. We'll call it 60 to 90 or so seconds. If we don't get another Super Chat, like I said, it will be the Ravens rundown with Tyler Jones barging into the studio. Okay. Yeah, he's a big fella. He's like Santa Claus. But let me know if you guys want to keep the show going. But also, if not, no worries, no problem at all. We'll be having our watch party, as always, this Saturday for the Browns-Ravens game. So if you haven't tuned into a watch party yet, make sure you do so. It's always a good time. Appreciate all of you guys who carved out some time to join us today for our live show. We always like to keep you guys informed and entertained. Josh, Petey, that's a huge what? A huge phone. I am a big I don't get new phones every year kind of guy. I will rock this phone until it will no longer, work pretty much.
So the screen is falling off.
Yep.
It still works.
Exactly. 10 seconds. Let's see if someone can keep the show alive. If not, no sweat, no harm, no foul, no worries. We will see you guys in a little bit. Ty Man the Buckeye, let's go Browns. Good to see you in the chat, Ty Man the Buckeye. I wonder how you feel about Jim Harbaugh as a coaching candidate for the Browns. All right. We eclipsed a minute. I know YouTube always has a bit of a delay, so I give you guys some extra slack. We'll end with this. Pee-wee's Dawg Pound. I would love D'Amico Ryans, the DC from the 49ers, and Reich as the OC. I think getting Frank Reich in the door is a win overall. I don't know if Alex Van Pelt's going to lose his job, though. AVP hasn't been the issue this year, but Frank Reich, he's a great coach, no doubt about it. Appreciate all of you guys for tuning in, supporting us here at the show. For all of you who super chatted, Josh, Mike, Frank, right? I believe, yep. Appreciate all of you guys for Josh, yeah. Okay. Kevin, that's what I want to say. I was thinking Frank Reich. Kevin, we're going to sign off. We're going to see you guys later with a watch party and more content throughout the rest of the week. But go Browns.